Imagine this. 10 years ago, I came across an idea that completely changed the way I view life, work, and everything in between. It wasn't some groundbreaking new business strategy or a quick-fix productivity hack. It was a simple truth, uncovered by a palliative nurse named Bronnie Ware. She spent years with people who were in their final weeks, caring for them and listening to their stories. What if I told you that the biggest regrets of the dying have nothing to do with the career milestones we chase, the money we accumulate, or the status we build? That's right. The real regrets, those that people carry with them in their final moments, are about something much more meaningful. So, what if you could avoid these regrets? What if you could start today to live the kind of life that, when your time comes, you'll look back and be proud of every moment? In today's episode of Minimal Millions, we're going to explore what happens when you stop waiting for the perfect moment and start living fully in the present. We'll talk about the 5 biggest regrets that people have as they near the end of their lives, and how understanding them can help you live more intentionally today. We'll also dig into why chasing achievements for happiness might actually be keeping you from the joy you deserve. And I'll share some personal stories from my own journey, including how I finally found the courage to take action when it felt like the right time never came. So let's dive in together and start learning how to build the life we'll never regret. Welcome to Minimal Millions, for those focused minds who chasing success. The regrets of the dying. A wake-up call. Bronnie Ware's book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, became a wake-up call for me. She worked closely with terminally ill patients and documented their final reflections on life. These weren't the kind of regrets you would expect, those that revolve around missed promotions or bigger paychecks. No, these were deeper regrets, ones that reflect the heart of who we are as people. The first regret she shared was so simple, yet it shook me to my core. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Think about that for a moment. How often do we sacrifice what we truly want in life to meet the expectations of others? We work hard to please people, to get approval, and to fit into a mold. We chase the promotion, the recognition, the status symbols. But when you face the end of your life, those things start to feel pretty insignificant. The second regret is just as powerful. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. How many of us get caught in the trap of overwork, thinking that one more project or one more promotion will finally bring us happiness? I know I've been there. You work late nights, you push yourself beyond your limits, and you convince yourself it's all for the future. But what if the future never comes? What if, instead of giving your all to your job, you gave more to the relationships that truly matter? Then there's the third regret. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. How often do we bottle up our emotions, suppressing them because we don't want to rock the boat? We hold back, thinking that we'll have more time later to speak up, to apologize, to share our true feelings. But we don't always get that chance. What if today was the day to express what's in your heart? The fourth regret hits close to home. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. Life gets busy. We drift away from people we care about because we get caught up in our own lives. We assume there will always be time to reconnect, but that's not always the case. Imagine looking back and realizing that the connections you neglected were the very ones that made life truly rich. And the fifth regret, which is perhaps the most striking of all, I wish I had let myself be happier. It seems so simple, doesn't it? But how many of us hold ourselves back from happiness because we're waiting for the perfect moment? We think we'll be happy once we achieve a goal or cross off a big milestone. But happiness isn't something you find at the finish line. It's something you create along the way. These regrets made me realize something profound. It's not the big achievements that matter in the end. It's the moments, the quiet, everyday moments that make life truly meaningful. The laughter shared over a meal with friends, the time spent with family, the joy of pursuing a passion without worrying about the outcome. But how do we stop ourselves from falling into the trap of chasing empty goals? The trap of chasing achievement, happiness is found in the journey. I'll be the first to admit that I used to think happiness was just on the other side of the next goal. I thought that once I reached a certain milestone, whether it was hitting a target in my business or gaining a certain level of recognition, I'd finally be able to relax and enjoy life. But the more I chased these goals, the more I realized that I was missing the point. The truth is, happiness doesn't live at the finish line. It's in the process. It's in who we become along the way. Take, for example, the beginning of my YouTube journey. I remember waiting years before I felt ready to post my first video. I thought that when the time was right, I'd feel more confident, more skilled, and more prepared. But when I finally pressed publish, the early days were anything but easy. I struggled with motivation. Putting myself out there felt uncomfortable, but as I kept going, something shifted. The real joy didn't come from hitting some far-off goal, it came from the small wins. The tiny improvements I made with each video. The comments from viewers who told me that my content made a difference in their lives. Those small victories kept me going, and over time, I transformed. I evolved into someone who no longer waited for the perfect moment to act. I learned that every step forward, no matter how small, was a victory in itself. Clarity doesn't come from waiting, it comes from doing. Here's the thing. We often wait for clarity to come. We wait until we feel confident, until we have all the information, until we're absolutely sure that the time is right. But that's not how life works. If you're anything like I was, you've probably told yourself, I'll start when I feel ready, or I'll wait until I have everything figured out. But let me tell you this, waiting is the enemy of progress. Clarity doesn't come from waiting, it comes from doing. You don't need to see the entire path in front of you. You only need to see the next step. When you take that first step, even if it feels scary or uncertain, momentum starts to build. You begin to trust yourself more. You realize that every small action is a part of your growth. You might feel stuck right now, afraid to take that first step, but I promise you, the pain of staying stuck is far worse than the discomfort of taking action. Every day you spend waiting is a day you're moving further away from the life you want to create. The power of now. Living fully in the present. This brings me to something my father once shared with me. He told me a story about a child asking their mother what her favorite moment in life was. The child expected an answer like, the day I got married, or the day I achieved my biggest success. But the mother's answer was simple, this moment, right now. It's so easy to live as if the future is promised to us. We assume that tomorrow, next year, or 5 years from now will be the time when we finally get around to doing the things that matter most. But here's the truth. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. All we have is now. Instead of waiting for some distant future to start living fully, why not start today? Make that phone call. Fill out that job application. Start that side hustle. Write that book. Take that trip. Spend time with the people who matter to you. The future isn't guaranteed, but you can start making today count. At the end of the day, the only person you have to answer to is yourself. When you look back on your life, it won't be about the promotions you didn't get or the titles you didn't earn. It will be about who you became along the way. It will be about the moments you cherished and the people you loved. So don't wait. Start living fully today. The life you want to create begins with a single step, and you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to begin. If you've enjoyed this episode and found it helpful, I encourage you to subscribe and join us here at Minimal Millions for more distraction-free content that will help you live the life you truly want. And before you go, take a moment to reflect. What's one thing you can start today that will bring you closer to the life you truly desire? Until next time, remember, live fully, live now. Thanks for listening to Minimal Millions. At Minimal Millions, we believe success doesn't need clutter. Simplify your journey to wealth and self-growth with clear, actionable advice. Tune in, block out distractions, and unlock your potential one focused moment at a time. Let's start the journey with us. Sparkle that subscribe button if you are truly inspired, because your journey to focus and fortune is just beginning. If you're ready for your next step towards simplicity and success, don't miss the above video. It's queued up and waiting for you, just one click away. Stay focused, keep it simple, and remember, less is more. Catch you in the next one.